Let's kick off this explainer by validating that intense, bone-deep exhaustion you might be feeling right now. Our source material today opens with this profoundly counterintuitive idea. The day you run away is the day your next strategy is born. Right? It tells us that retreating isn't actually the end. In fact, stepping back from a situation where your body and your mind are just screaming that it's impossible, that's often the exact beginning of your real recovery.
I mean, think about it honestly. Have you ever felt like giving up? Whether you're hitting a massive wall in your career, feeling deeply hurt in a relationship, totally losing motivation on a diet, or maybe just feeling completely stuck with family, we literally all hit that breaking point where we just want to pack up and run away. It's a completely universal human experience. But, we're so often conditioned to view this urge as weakness, like a total failure. We blame ourselves. Well, today, we're going to challenge that assumption entirely.
So, how do we actually build an unbreakable mind? Today, we're learning how to transform that crushing feeling of absolute defeat into a powerful, strategic advantage. We're pulling directly from our source material on how to reframe retreat and resilience. And spoiler alert, it's not about being invincible from the start. It's about learning the psychological habits of people who know exactly how to keep moving forward, even when they feel entirely broken.
Our roadmap for this explainer covers 5 key areas. 1. The recommendation of a strategic retreat. 2. Breaking emotions down small. 3. What to do when you're stuck. 4. The power of affirmations. And 5. How daily habits build a resilient mind. We're basically going to walk through a complete mental triage, going from your immediate crisis all the way to building long-term psychological habits.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the recommendation of a strategic retreat and how we need to reframe quitting.
First things first, we absolutely need to relieve the guilt you might be carrying right now about needing to step away from a tough situation. This is all about reframing the very concept of quitting. Look, there is a massive distinction between throwing everything away out of pure despair and executing a calculated, strategic retreat. Let's say you're in a highly irrational workplace. Forcing yourself to endure it and fighting back in the heat of the moment, that isn't always the right answer. Stepping away isn't giving up. It's a strategic retreat to cool your head, create some much-needed time and space, and figure out your actual next move. It is a highly intentional action, not a passive failure.
Now, the absolutely crucial point here is that worrying about people thinking you ran away will quite literally destroy your mind and body. People are going to judge, sure, but fearing that judgment and forcing yourself to stay in a highly destructive situation, that almost always leads to a severe mental and physical breakdown. Our source emphasizes that your ability to stand back up is what truly matters, not the fleeting opinions of others. You have to give yourself the permission to step back. Honestly, it's the #1 dividing line between those who overcome difficulties and those who get crushed by them.
But, and this is a big but, the retreat itself isn't the whole solution. It's what you do after you retreat that decides everything. If you retreat and just do nothing, then yeah, that basically becomes giving up. But if you use that space to reassess, now that is preparation. In love, you step back to figure out what you genuinely want so you can be more sincere next time. With a diet, you calmly analyze exactly why you couldn't maintain it, which drastically improves your stamina when you restart. At work, you prepare your next strategic move. Action absolutely must follow the retreat.
Moving on to Section 2, breaking emotions down small, or deconstructing overwhelm.
So even if you retreat, those heavy negative emotions usually try to follow you, right? And if you try to fight a massive feeling like, I completely hate my workplace, or this relationship is ruining me all at once, you'll be utterly crushed. Emotions are terrifying when they're left vague and heavy, so you have to deconstruct them into manageable, bite-sized pieces. You take that heavy feeling and you literally interrogate it. Ask yourself, who specifically is doing this? What exact words did they say? When did this happen? What specific trigger set this off? By breaking it all down step by step, the monster in your head becomes just a series of small, completely solvable problems.
This is especially vital when you're dealing with anger. When you break down what feels like pure explosive anger into, say, a pie chart, you'll almost always find it's just a surface reaction. The real slices of that pie, they're usually sadness, deep disappointment, or broken expectations, like, I wanted it to be this way, and it wasn't. Recognizing this deeper wound prevents you from acting recklessly and just blowing up. It actually helps you see what you genuinely desire, allowing you to take constructive action instead of just lashing out.
All right, Section 3, what to do when you're stuck and surviving the breaking point.
What do you do when the overwhelm is so incredibly heavy that you literally cannot move forward? When both your mind and your physical body feel like they've just slammed into a brick wall?
Well, this triage strategy from our source is brilliant because it separates your mind and your body. It shows that if one is completely frozen, moving the other can literally rescue you from a total standstill. If your mind is broken and screaming, "I can't do this," you don't actually need to fix your mind right away. Just move your body. Go for a walk, do some light stretching, or hey, just stand at the sink and wash the dishes. Conversely, if your body is absolutely exhausted and cannot move, do not force it. Rest your physical body but move your mind. Read a book, or simply write down your very next step on a piece of paper. You just have to provide a complete system shutdown.
And this highlights a really profound truth. Action comes first. Feelings will follow. Never, ever wait until you feel like it to act. If you wait for your feelings to get perfectly organized before you make a move, you're going to be waiting forever. Simply changing your blood flow through a quick walk or accomplishing the tiny task of doing the dishes will actually unblock your stagnant thoughts. Do the action first. The feelings of motivation and clarity, they will absolutely catch up later.
Which brings us to Section 4, the power of affirmations, or psychological strength training. Now that we've stabilized the immediate crisis and got you moving again, let's transition into rehabilitation and how to actually train your brain for the long haul. Our source defines affirmations very clearly here. They are not magical thinking. This isn't about lying to yourself or engaging in cheap self-hypnosis. It's literal psychological muscle training. It's building a habit of speaking to yourself to gently guide your thoughts toward the person you want to become. Think about it. You wouldn't expect huge biceps from lifting a weight a single time, right? Well, affirmations require that exact same daily, unglamorous repetition. You're laying down new neural pathways until the words finally take root. The absolutely crucial point here is that using someone else's generic positive quotes just isn't going to cut it. Hearing generic words like, "I am a winner," might just bounce right off you if you don't actually believe it deep down. What you really need are custom affirmations. You need to craft words that directly target the specific situations where you personally tend to stumble. You have to speak directly to your own specific weaknesses. Here are some really great examples of that from the text. Let's say you're easily hurt in relationships. Your custom phrase might be, "Even if I get hurt, I have the power to open my heart again." Or, if you're facing a tough setback at your job, you tell yourself, "Even if I step back once, I will definitely return." See the difference? By customizing these phrases, you're building targeted mental armor for the exact moments you feel like giving up. They act as your personal anchors when the storm hits.
Finally, let's dive into Section 5, How Habits Build a Resilient Mind, which is really the secret foundation to all of this.
Because true mental strength, it isn't what we usually see in the movies. Mental resilience is not born in huge, dramatic moments of triumph. It's secretly built through small, entirely unglamorous daily habits. It's built in the morning when you wash the dishes even when you really don't want to. It's built in the afternoon when you politely reply to a tedious email instead of ignoring it, or worse, sending that angry draft you just typed out. It's built in the evening when you are exhausted to your core, but you still complete your bare minimum routine. It's in these quiet moments where you simply refuse to act recklessly or throw in the towel. These tiny victories create a massive reservoir of resilience that you can draw from when a real crisis hits. And the ultimate habit you must build is the habit of redirecting your focus. When you're suffering, it is so tempting to spend all your energy staring at the unchangeable past, constantly asking, "Why did this happen to me?" But our source strongly warns that this will only exhaust you further. The past literally cannot be changed. You must habituate switching your focus to the future. Even if your reality hasn't changed yet, just shifting your mindset to asking, "What can I do next?" dramatically reduces the crushing weight of the situation. It keeps you from freezing up.
You really don't need to solve everything today. You just need to avoid stopping completely. Acknowledging your exhaustion, stepping back to regroup, and focusing on forward momentum, that is how an unbreakable mind is truly forged. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this. No matter what wall you've hit today, ask yourself, what is the single smallest strategic next step you can take right now?